Today, we're scrutinizing the regulatory framework for e-hailing services in Lagos State. And who is better suited to take us through the discourse other than the number one citizen in the Ministry of Transport? We're talking about the Honorable Commissioner for Transport in Lagos, Dr. Frederic Oladeinde. It's nice to have you join us this morning. Good morning, sir.
Hi. Good morning, Victor.
And you're welcome back to Traffic Radio.
Thank you very much.
All right, so let's just take it up right away, Honorable Commissioner. When we say e-hailing services in the transport sector, what sort of services are we referring to here?
I think we're talking about something that is slightly different from taxis. So individuals can decide to convert their cars and then use it to ferry people from one point to the other.
Right.
But obviously it has to be regulated, and then we have to understand the characteristics of the driver.
Right, and those that make use of technology to...
That's correct. So the technology is used to book the service, and then the taxi, the car comes to your venue, and then it takes you to your destination.
And how is it different from the regular taxis that are used for transportation?
Well, I think you just mentioned it. So, technology is used to book this service, and obviously the condition is less stringent than taxis.
Right.
And that's because you can do it on a part-time basis, and it's just a new way of making space available in your car to move people from one point to the other.
Right, and I'm just about to ask that. Is it a new system, or has it been operational for a while?
It has been operational for a while around the world, but obviously there have been a lot of controversy around the regulatory aspect.
Right, and that is where I want to come in, because why is the Lagos State government coming up with these regulations at this time?
I think the role of government is to actually protect its citizens. So it's very important that we have a regulatory framework that allows us to understand the people who are running the business,
right.
To ensure that the right people are actually running that business, and also, most importantly, to create a level playing field for other people to come in and participate in this operation also.
All right. So what are the regulations, the regulatory framework for this set of transport operators? What does it entail?
First of all, if you want to go into e-hailing, you must register with the government. So you must get a license. So there's an operational license involved, and obviously you have to pay for that.
Okay.
And then apart from that, you need to get some documentation, because once you move away from being a private driver to driving other people, there's a different set of training required, because people are now entrusting their life into you.
Right.
They're entrusting your life to you, and
right.
So you must go through a commercial training that ensures that you know what you're doing. And most importantly, we need to know who you are, because we are now carrying people around Lagos. So it's important for us to know that the right people and we're not allowing criminals, etc., to enter that business. So it's protecting that business in such a way that the right people actually operate that the framework.
Right. So before now, it appears that it was an all-comers affair. That's what it seems.
Well, it wasn't meant to, and because the regulatory framework was quite weak, and that's why it seemed like that. But that wasn't the intention.
All right.
And when you look around Lagos, you see so many kabus, people that are not registered, people that might just be coming from work in the evening and then just decide to carry people. You don't even know, whose car you're entering. So I think we need to ensure that people are protected, people are safe, people are secured in Lagos, and that's why the regulatory framework is quite important.
Which is very nice, because I know that we had an engagement on this severally on this platform. We've had the drivers' unions, they've come here, and they've been wondering why the Lagos State government hasn't taken action in terms of regulating the activities of the operators themselves. It's not about the companies that are involved. But now that you guys are taking the gauntlet, let's see, what kind of engagement have you had with the providers, the companies that are involved?
Okay, I think you just mentioned a very important aspect there. So we have had stakeholder engagement with the various operators such as Uber, Bolt, and some others who have come on the market. And it's very important that because what they do is they provide a software and application where drivers can then plug into and then operate their business. So it's very important that the relationship between the operator and the driver is smooth in such a way that there's no friction. And what we noticed over the last couple of years is that there's been some friction, and the friction has always been that the operators are only interested in deploying the app. They're not interested in the well-being or the welfare of the driver.
Right.
And this is where government comes in to smoothen that relationship. So we have to come in and then try to understand the relationship between the drivers as well as the operators, and then make sure that the environment is conducive for the drivers to actually operate their business, and then for them to, earn a decent living and to be treated well.
Right. And do the operators, did you understand that they are operating in the transport business? Because I know that even in some countries of the world, the Ubers, they've had legal issues trying to say, well, we're a technology company, we're not a transport-related company. Yeah. So has that been sorted out right here in Lagos?
It has been sorted out to an extent. Yes, so that was the argument in Lagos, that they're just deploying an app. But then at the end of the day, you're deploying an app. You're deploying a platform for drivers to drive. So, at the end of the day, you're also in the the transport business.
Right.
So you can't exclude yourself from that. And we made that clear to them. So I think that is quite understood.
Right.
And I think they've taken that upon themselves, that, okay, even though we're deploying an app, we're also providing a transport solution.
Right. Let's look at the potentials of these particular services. In Lagos, what is the potentials of the e-hailing services from the ministry's perspective?
Well, Lagos is quite a buoyant market. We're 22 million people, and obviously we're not without our transport challenges. So there is an opportunity for the e-hailing business to thrive in Lagos. However, there is a way in which you can operate your business in such a way that is constructive. So if the regulatory framework does not come in, then the business itself can be a hindrance. And what do I mean by that?
Right.
So all kinds of people can just come into the market, and you don't know who is a e-hailing driver from someone who is just trying to take advantage of the opportunity available to just pick people on their way home. And then, so the opportunity is there, but you need to regulate that market. You need to protect it. And the government needs to also ensure that it gets its own share from the market so that it can plug it back into the infrastructure. Because what you don't want is a business coming in and then taking advantage of the environment and then not putting much back into it.
Right.
But the opportunity is huge.
It's huge in Lagos.
Yes, it is.
All right. Do we have a data that suggests, or perhaps can tell us, how many drivers or how many operators that are plugged in this segment of the transport business?
I think that's one of the issues that we've been having with the operators. The fact that obviously the database is strictly controlled by them, but we do have some estimations. So we know that we have over 10,000 drivers who drive for the various e-hailing companies.
All right.
But we don't have accurate, we don't have the precise number, but we know it's over 10,000 drivers.
So with this new framework, you're going to be getting this data, right?
Well, with the new framework and then with the data's, with the drivers registering, yes, we would have a much more accurate number of drivers who are in that business.
Okay, then. So this morning, we're going to be allowing lots of people to also interact with you, Honorable Commissioner. But before then, let's go through this. So you had a stakeholders meeting with all those that are involved in this. Let's look through the regulatory framework again, things that are needed for anyone to be called an e-hailing service operator, or perhaps a driver, as the case may be. What is required? What do I need?
Okay, so there are two kinds of entrants. So you have the operators that only deploy apps, and then they expect drivers to now subscribe. And then all they just do is, like drivers book. They plug into the application, and then people can then book their ride.
Right.
So for this kind of application, so for the operator, you need an operational license. So for the first 1,000 cars, you need to pay about 8 million naira.
Okay.
And then above that, you pay 20 million naira. And that's for the entrance. And then for renewal every year, if your company has less than 1,000 cars, it's 4,000 every year. And if you have more than 1,000, it's 8,000 every year.
That's the renewal license.
That's the renewal license.
Okay.
Okay. So for the taxi, the second scheme, so there's a set of operators that actually have fleets.
Okay.
They operate the fleet as well as the app. So for them, the first 50 is 5,000 naira.
All right.
And then if you have above 50, it's 10,000 naira. And that's the entrance. For the renewal, it's 2.5 million.
Right.
Every year. And then for over 50, it's 5 million naira every year.
Okay.
Okay. And then there's a second for the first entrance that I talked about. There is an additional fee, which is the 20 naira, which comes from the operator, and I need to make that very clear.
Yeah, I think you need to break this down because
I need to break this down.
Yes.
Very quickly.
Right.
So, if you're in the e-hailing business, you will understand that for those who deploy the app. So what happens is that if I'm a driver and I charge 1,000 naira. Okay, 25% or 20%, depending on the operator you're driving for, goes to the operator.
Okay.
And then the other 75% or 80% is kept, goes to the driver. Now, of the 20 or 25% that goes to the operator, that's where we're charging the 20 naira.
Not from the driver.
Not from the driver. So that 20 naira does not transfer to the consumer or the customer.
Okay.
And it's very clear. We need to make that distinction. So it's called the Road Development Fund because these guys are providing a service and the government is providing the infrastructure and they need to contribute towards the development of that infrastructure.
So now let me break this down. So 1,000 naira per trip, 250 naira goes to the operator, let's say Taxify or Uber as the case may be.
That's correct.
And out of this 250 naira, Uber is supposed to remit 20 naira to the government.
Correct.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
So the drivers need not entertain any fears?
Not at all.
So why are they raising these eyebrows? Because I've heard from drivers, they've been calling the station severally to say there's a 20 naira that have been imposed on them for them to pay as this.
Well, I'm not sure we communicated that
appropriately.
Well. Yeah, so, and that's why I'm on this program and on other programs to communicate that very well. We've had 3 stakeholder meetings. We had the drivers' union, the representatives that represent the drivers, and so we made that pretty clear. And if you look at, we had a media appearance after one of the stakeholder engagement, and we made it clear. And the drivers' union actually made it clear that look, they're happy with what the government.
And that's where I want to come from. What was their reaction by the time you had this engagement?
No, I think by the time we broke it down and we all sat down around the table and discussed what it involved. The drivers brought in their concerns. The operators also put down their concerns, and so we were able to iron the whole thing out, and everybody was pretty happy by the end of the meeting.
It sounds good. All right, then Lagos Traffic Radio 96.1 FM. This morning, we're scrutinizing the regulatory framework for e-hailing services in Lagos, and the Honorable Commissioner for Transport in Lagos is taking us to the classroom on how it all works out. So very, very shortly, I'll allow you to join the conversation. All right, let's take you through the Lekki-Ajah corridor. If you're moving in from Eleko to Atunrashe, it is good movement within that location. From Alahon to Ishakpati, proceeding to Bogija, is also looking good. And it stays like that all the way to Lakowe as well as Awoyaya. All right, it's slow from there approaching a container bus stop. But I can tell you that Eko Akete inwards Abijo is still looking good at the moment. Shangotedu proceeding to Abraham Adesanya to VGC is looking good. VGC to Agungi, Ashakpa London is also looking good, but slow approaching Ikate. Well, there's a better movement if you're moving from there towards Elf and of course Lekki. All that end is good. Approaching the toll gate is also slow with particular location. All right, we'll get you more helpings, but let's connect with you this morning. Let's have your own thoughts, especially as we look at the regulatory framework for e-hailing services. We talked about what they've been doing, and the Honorable Commissioner did say it's a potentially huge market in Lagos, considering the population. And we're having lots of you that are plugging into these as well. Only yesterday, I was just hearing about over 100 female e-hailing service drivers also trying to help themselves and making the economy buoyant. But let's hear from you this morning. 0809-912-0777 is the numbers that you can connect with us, and you can have your thoughts on the program. Let's take it right away, because I know some of you are on the line already. Hello there, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. My name is Omotola. I'm calling from Surulere.
Nice to hear from you, Omotola. Are you a e-hailing service driver?
Yes, I am, sir.
All right, go ahead then.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Commissioner, sir.
Good morning.
Yes, sir. Sorry to say this first, but I would like to state that the people who claim to represent the drivers' union are actually operators as well. So they cannot be operators and as well be representing the drivers. They are not representing us properly.
Okay, why do you say that?
Because they are operators. They are representing an app company on their own.
Okay.
So they are not fully representing the drivers. They are not the drivers.
All right, so let me ask you, what areas do you not agree with from what they have agreed, or perhaps the agreements they have signed?
Okay, yes. In this regulation, we have been hearing so far that the drivers need to be known. The drivers need to be known. We need to identify the drivers, but we are not identifying the riders. This has been one of our challenges. So many times, drivers have been requested online, lured to corners, and have been killed or robbed. And no one says anything about who that rider is or where that person came from. Because it's so easy at the tap of a finger to make register on these apps and make a booking.
All right. So your request now is that riders should also be known.
Exactly. We should have profiling for riders as well, so that when anything happens, we don't have to start bothering the police about investigation that goes on and on and on for ages.
All right.
Before we get the rider.
Okay,
that's
then.
One. Also,
quickly.
In the state of the license, I'm not an app owner, but in the state of the licenses that are to be gotten.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they say if a certain company has 1,000 drivers, they pay a certain amount,
mm-hmm.
and above that they pay a certain amount.
Right.
Now, my question now is, what happens when, say, a certain 1,000 drivers are on 2 different or 3 different app companies accounts? Will all these companies also pay for this same 1,000 set of drivers? Okay,
then. All right. We're taking note of that. If this 1,000 driver belongs to different app companies. All right, then. We've taken note of that. Thank you so much for your call. 080-99120777 is the numbers that you can connect with us to have your say on the program this morning, even as we talk regulations for e-hailing services in Lagos. Before I allow the commissioner to respond, we put all the calls together. Hello there. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Right.
Good morning, sir. Commissioner, sir.
Hey, good morning.
Yeah, I have 3 questions that I have.
What's your name?
My name is Moses, calling from Abulegba.
Moses from Abulegba. Go ahead.
Yeah. In all the requirements, we know that they are okay. But where we are having, I want Mr. Commissioner to put light on is this driver badge and the car tag. They call it all route tag. Because according to the people that attended the meeting, the stakeholder meeting, the big one, we were told that government told them that all the e-hailing companies should provide the driver badge and the all route tag for the driver. That is when they pay the operation license, the 8 million, that the government will print those ones for for the e-hailing, for the operator, the e-hailing app people.
All right.
They will not distribute it to the driver.
So you want more explanation on how this works, right?
Yes.
Okay.
But all these Uber and Bolt, they are telling us to go and get it. And if we get it, that means we have turned to yellow cab. Or all these Baba doing their own.
All right. Thank you so much.
The second one is that, please, these e-hailing people, they've reduced their fare 50% downward now. And they didn't reduce their commission. We want government to help us talk to them. They should increase their fare a little bit so that by the time they remove their own 25%, 20%, we will be able to have something to go home with.
Okay.
The trip of 2006 is now 1,003.
Right.
We provide AC, we go on long trip, there is traffic and everything. We from the 26 to 13 is nothing. By the time they remove 25% or 20%, how much is going to be left for us? Those are the two areas I want them to talk about. Thank you, sir.
All right, then. Thank you very much for that one. We take more before we allow the commissioner to respond. 0809-912-0777. You can also put in your thoughts through the social media platform as well. Hello there.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
Yeah, my name is George Okafor.
George, where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Ajay.
All right, go ahead.
I would like to, for this program you brought up, and then the Honorable Commissioner of Transport, and as well, really, I want to really, my own hand goes this way, because, one, when I'm talking about fare reduction from the apps company that have provided these services to this country, we have problem of low fare reduction, because on that low fare, once you drive from here to here, you make a large amount of 500 naira. Inside, you have an AC. You have to buy a fuel. Now the fuel now in this country has increased. Every other thing has increased. We are still battling with fare reduction in these e-hailing services.
All right. So you want the ministry to intervene?
We are going to repair our car. The wear and tear of that car, they don't care. They don't care about the safety of the drivers. And again, secondly, the government coming in for regulation. I will say that government is not really, representing her own citizen.
Why do you say that?
In the country, why I say so, because in other countries, I've seen how government represent their citizens very well. Now they came in and said the e-hailing company has to register officially with them, pay some certain amount of money as a license, and again, they are interested in 20 naira, but they have forgotten we, the drivers, who is carrying out these services. There and there, we have gone to, we have had a protest on the Taxify office concerning a fellow driver that was killed. An active service, and then another one was shot at Akbango that has a blind. He's blind now. If you know about that man, he's blind.
Okay, so you want the ministry to intervene in terms of security as well. That's what you're talking about.
In terms of security as well, in terms of fare increment, so that once the time you drivers don't have to be online from morning till 12 o'clock in the midnight.
Okay.
So by the time
all right, we have to let you go because of time, and I know lots of you wants to be a part of this. You can also put your thoughts on our social media as well at Lagos Traffic 961, and also on Facebook. Put your comments there, and we will to attend to all of them as well. Okay, one more before I get back to the Honorable Commissioner. Hello there, good morning.
Hello, good morning, Mr. Victor.
Good morning.
And good morning, sir, Mr. Oladeinde.
Good morning.
Yeah, the Commissioner. I want to applaud.
What's your name?
Andrew is my name.
All right, Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, I want to applaud the state government for the innovation and the synergy. In other clients, security and safety comes first, apart from the money. But the first caller before the other two talked about security, and the last caller talked about security and safety.
Right.
Now, the e-hailing service, I know in the app, they have emergency button there, the two e-hailing services. And for one to do that, some people can be lured and say, okay, they want to go to so and so place. Some can be, in quotes, people that want to go and do the underworld work unknowingly to one.
Right.
And they will now use their name to register in the app. Using the name to...
Hello, Andrew?
I can hear...
Andrew, we lost you for a bit there. You said using the name to do what?
Using the app as a rider now, that's the passenger.
Right.
I can use the app and commit atrocity here and then go and re-register because me, the passenger, they don't have my picture.
Right.
They have their picture, the complaint, ehailing app. But me now, as a passenger, I can go and impersonate as Thomas.
Okay, so it's the same thing with the first caller. So you also want the government to take action in terms of riders being registered?
Anybody that wants to register, since the government wants the riders to have LASRA, they should use their identity to register in the app.
Okay, then. All right.
If you go to the US, please, if you go to the US or Dubai, you have your international passport. Anywhere you go to as a Nigerian, if you want to enter the app and commit anything, they will know you. They will track you down. Okay. So we want that.
All right, then. We've taken note of that. Thank you very much, Andrew. All right, so we can see now that there are lots of questions that are bugging on security and issues that relates to the low fare that are being charged. Honorary Commissioner, let's begin to address this. Where would it start from? Is it from the rear, or we take it from the top now?
No, I think we take it from the top, and I'm actually very pleased with all these questions because this is simply what the government is trying to address. And that's why we can't simply leave this market alone, because we need to protect the drivers.
Right.
Yeah, with regard to the first question, the first caller said that the driver that represented them has an operating company. Now, first of all, he was a driver, and due to the frustration he had with the operators, he went to form his own company.
Okay.
And then we also had other drivers there and a lot of them are forming their own company because of the frustration that they're having.
And the government is not against that, right?
No, the government's not against that, as long as you stick to the rules and regulation. So let me just say that, yes, he represents the driver and he also represents the operator, but the most important thing is that we understand what the driver is going through. And let me highlight some of the things that we discussed in that stakeholder meeting. So when the driver is in operation, driving for that company, so that company provides the driver with insurance, comprehensive insurance.
Insurance, okay.
So that driver will, his vehicle is protected, and also we also made it mandatory that the operating company has to, once that driver is on that platform, at that point in time, they have responsibility for that driver, as well as the vehicle. So if anything happened to that vehicle, they have to fix that vehicle.
Okay, unlike what was happening in the past.
Unlike what was happening in the past. So those are part of the incentive that is coming to the drivers. Now, there's something controversial here.
And what is that?
The first caller talked about us having the profile of every rider. Now, every rider wants immunity and does not want his information moving from one place to the other. This has been the controversy around the whole world.
Right.
And this is something that we're still discussing.
All right, just hold on 1 second, Honorable Commissioner. Let me see if I can take one or two in terms of responses as well and connect with our traffic managers.
Sure.
All right, so let's do that.
All right, on Facebook, we have a comment here from Adebayo, Abayomi, Oladeinde. He says that on the renewal fee of 5,000, is it on each car or on 1,000 cars?
Okay, that's Abayomi.
Oladeinde, yes, on Facebook.
All right.
And Inse Daniel Andrew says, please, sir, I'm an e-hailing driver. And the driver badge and tags, is it the drivers that to get those tags or the app company?
Okay.
And on WhatsApp, we have lots of requests. Yes, they are all asking the Honorable Commissioner to expatiate on the documents they need to get, yes, as a driver and the app companies as well.
All right, then. I'm sure most of you have done that, so we'll go through all of that. But let's get back to this. So, from the first caller, which you mentioned, profiling of the rider, is there anything that the government can do? Probably Andrew's suggestion, can't we make use of LASRA as a point of identity?
Well, I think we're trying to make LASRA compulsory for everybody that lives in Lagos. I think we would do that. So the profiling would not be based on the database, but it would be a separate database which Lagos State would hold. So we will not link that to the e-hailing. So It's pretty difficult to actually try and use the app. The operators to actually profile riders, because there is a law against that, and I think we need to understand that. So,
all right. Let's help out now. Somebody is talking about. You said the first 1,000 vehicles for the operator in terms of renewal, but he wants to know if this 1,000 vehicles, or perhaps if people make use of more than one app, how would the government be able to sort that out?
Well, this operational license is for the operators. It's not for the drivers.
It's not for the drivers.
It's not. So that doesn't concern the drivers at all.
Okay.
Now, there's something important that I need to touch on.
All right.
So we've talked about what the documentations for the drivers. So apart from the driver's license that you need to get,
all right,
once you start driving commuters, you need to acquire other documents. So the first one is the lateral card.
Okay.
The second one is the fact that you need to go to LASRI and then get what you call driver's badge. A driver's badge separates you from a private driver. Okay. And that's important, because you're not driving other people. Okay. People are now entrusting their life to you.
So that badge is not meant for the operator. It's the driver that needs to go get it.
It's the driver that needs to get it, and then there's the body tag also. So, but what we have done, what government has done, is to develop a one-stop shop. So you don't have to go to different places for the different documentation. So you apply for it once, and then everything will be processed for you,
and
it will be given to you.
Where would they get that?
So there are 4 centers that the MOT has created for now.
All right, just hold on 1 second, Honorable Commissioner. I'll get to these 4 centers, but let me quickly take this one that's coming in. Corridor.
All right, on WhatsApp, on Facebook, Oluwanti Olukunle says, good morning. Please, the driver's badge, is it like a document or something I can paste on my car? Because I don't want to paste anything on my car. And someone else is asking, where can we get the driver bag and body tags?
All right, let's get to that. And that's what the commissioner is just about to reveal. So for those who can get this, you say it's a one-stop shop. One-stop shop.
So this is not new at all. All commercial drivers get this. Let's make this clear. Every taxi driver, every commercial driver get this documentation from the Ministry of Transport. So if you go on our website, you will see the address where you need to apply. So the point is for e-hailing drivers. So you have the driver. It's like having a driver's license. You don't paste the driver's license on your window, etc. So it's just for you to have, so that it marks you differently from other drivers. So if you're driving other people, you must have a driver's badge.
Okay.
Your vehicle must have a hackney permit, because you're now converting that vehicle from a private to a commercial. Okay. So these are all documentation that you need to have, and it helps because we would have the database of drivers in MOT, and then the question of if drivers are driving for 2 or 3 different companies, you'll be able to trace that.
Right. And you said they can get all of these documents from where now?
No. Just go to the MOT website, and we will make it available. So there are various centers. I don't know them off the top of my head, but there are various centers where we have created this one-stop shop. It is not difficult at all.
All right. So now a lot of people are concerned. Most of the drivers are concerned, and I know this is something they've expressed consistently, even on our various programs, and that is the low fares that is charged, for this kind of services. You're going from, let's say, Ikeja to Lekki, for instance, and by the time you get there, you find out that the charge is 2,000 naira, 2,500, and all of that. So they are wondering, is there a way government can come in terms of regulation to make it much more competitive?
I think that's a fantastic question. You see, that's the essence of regulation. If you leave the market to dictate itself, you have these kind of problems. So these operators will sit down with the Ministry of Transport every 3 months. We would iron out the issues, the fees, etc. will be established, so that these guys don't just fix arbitrary fees and then give the drivers problems. So we would have that. There's a 3-monthly meeting where you have the drivers as well as the operators, and we will sit down and then we will continue to regulate.
All right, then.
That's the beauty of regulation.
Which is good. So most of the operators and the drivers right now, they just need to be very hopeful and expectant, right?
Oh, yes. Yeah, definitely.
All right, let's begin to wrap this up this morning. Akorede, sneak in one or two.
Okay, still on Facebook. One said from Oladeinde Oba. He said that I have a driver's badge. Do I need another one? And Roger says that good morning, sir. Regarding the badge, do we need to paste it? So he says he wants clarification on that one.
Okay.
Is this something he has to? Is it like a sticker that he will paste on his car? And Yusuf on WhatsApp says that is the driver's badge different from luxury card?
All right, so you guys are all concerned about this badge of a thing. So, Honorable Commissioner, does he need to paste the badge, or he can just have it in his car?
You can have it in your car. All right. It's like having a driver's license. And then if you have a driver's badge, you only need one. You don't need two driver's badge. Yeah, and the driver's badge is different from the lateral card. Lateral card is an identification number for residents of Lagos.
All right, so let's take this home this morning because I know time really fast spent. Honorable Commissioner, what's your parting thoughts to our drivers, and give them this sort of assurance that the regulations is not meant to hurt them, because that's perhaps the kind of feeling some of them are having?
I think it's very important for the drivers to know that the reasons why government had to step in is because we've had all these complaints, and we can't just have, operators come in and then do what they want. We need to protect the drivers. Most of the drivers are citizens, and they need to be protected, and that's the essence of this regulation. This regulation had been put in place to protect them, to make sure that we improve security around the business, and just to make sure that we protect their income. Right. And that's important. And most importantly, that 20 naira does not transfer. It does have nothing to do with the drivers. All right. That is a fee paid by the operators for coming to Nigeria or Lagos State to operate.
Great. All right then. So we'll leave it at that. And another request. I hope we can get many of the officials from the ministry in our Yoruba and Pidgin belts to come and explain this much more to the listening public. Can we get that, Honorable Commissioner?
Yeah, as long as it's not me.
Okay, then. You will do. So you send any of your officials down?
Yes.
Okay, then. It's nice having you at very short notice, Honorable Commissioner. Thank you so much for coming into the studio to explain all of this down to our people. Thank you so much, sir.
You're welcome.
Okay, then. So this is how far we will go on the program this morning. But let me appreciate Korede Bamishile, who has produced the program. And great and real thanks to our executive producer, Tayo Akonle, the social media team, Karadima Folashire, Mubosala Kasali, and to you out there for making this a conversation. We say a big thank you to you.